bring back the juice metaphor, people will be rejoicing in the streets. Hi, I'm Claudia and 911 is officially coming back for season 10. Now this was confirmed quite a few months ago, but as I'm filming this, like any day now, they are going to start filming, which is mildly terrifying. And last year I made a video all about what I wanted from season 9 of 911, and did I get much of it? No. But this year, the same as last year, I have ideas as to how I would really want season 10 to go. So I'm going to talk about them in the hope that maybe this manifests that these things actually happen. Also, last season, I made the video in like October, just before the show started airing. I'm doing it earlier this year, mainly because I already have thoughts and they need to go somewhere. Also, because there's a very, 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 very tiny chance that someone from 911 will see this. And if they do, I want to give them time to write it in, okay? If I do this video in October, then I've got no chance. If I do it in July, I have a teeny tiny chance, okay? I'm delusional, but this is how the thought process goes. Anyway, we're gonna start with kind of the very specific things I want for the season, and then after I've done all of that, we'll go on to kind of like the more general stuff that I want to see like across multiple episodes of the season, if that makes sense. But I think I'll start at the beginning with the opening emergency. Now, season 9's opening emergency was a little hit or miss. There were some parts of it that I loved. I did appreciate the space emergency. Did I think it went on for a little bit too long? Yes. Because like I really enjoyed the young Athena stuff in episode 4, but I do really wish the space arc had only been 3 episodes instead of 4 episodes. I know episode 1 they only really got to the space stuff like right at the very end, but like they could have cut that down a bit and then like shoved everything forward a little bit. Like I think they could have just done it a little bit better. And I mean, after the infamous Ordinary promo, it was always going to be a little bit of a joke, I'm afraid. I'm hoping this year for the promo they either really lean into the whole meme aspect of it that we got last year, or they go like the complete opposite direction and actually just show us clips from the episode and it's like a trailer and no one makes fun of it. Either or, I'll be happy. As for what I hope the opening emergency for season 9 is, that I don't know. See, the problem is 911's basically done every single natural disaster under the sun at this point. I think the only thing we technically haven't had is a like actual tornado, but we have had the Beanado, so like do you count that as a tornado or not? I don't know. But I was thinking about this recently. If you look back at all 3 of the opening emergencies that ABC has done, so that's season 7, season 8 and season 9, all 3 of them have had Athena almost die. Like season 7, her cruise ship got attacked by pirates and almost sank. Season 8, she was on a plane that almost crashed and she had to land it. Season 9, she almost died in space. So I think for season 10, I would love it to be someone else who almost dies. I think that would be quite fun. Like, of course, Athena's going to be involved. I just hope she doesn't almost die, especially after she just almost died in the season 9 finale. Like, give her a minute, okay? As for who I would like to see almost die, well, that's pretty much anyone else, I think. Maybe not Hen, because like her last season she went through a lot. So did Buck, honestly, so maybe not those 2. Which leaves Eddie, Ravi, Chimney, May or Harry. So one of those, probably. I have seen a lot of people talking about the potential of like Eddie taking care of Theo for the day and then something goes wrong and it's kind of a parallel to the tsunami at the start of season 3, which I would love. Considering there were so many parallels towards the end of season 9 with like earlier seasons, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, especially because people have been talking about that since season 9 ended, and we all know the writers, they're lurking on Twitter, okay? So I think there's a chance. Do I think there's a high chance? Probably not, but I do think there is a chance that we get a kind of parallel like that. Natural disaster wise, I do think they could do another earthquake because it has been like 8 years since the first earthquake, so I feel like they could do another one and just have it be like very different, like the outcome of it. It would have to be like not a building collapse, because we also had a building collapse in the season 8 finale, so it would have to be something like quite different. Have we had a sinkhole yet? I don't think we've had a sinkhole yet, at least not in like an opening emergency or a finale emergency. So maybe we could do a sinkhole. Or I'd love to see them do something kind of like season 8 episode 17, Don't Drink the Water. If you don't remember, that's the one where something leaks into the water supply and all the water is like setting on fire. I would love to see kind of something like that, where it's like some kind of maybe like hallucinogenic drug has leaked into the water and it's just causing chaos across Los Angeles. It could be like very funny, like people all over the city doing like kind of stupid stuff and the 118 just going from cool to cool to cool to cool, and it's like Jinx in season 4. Or they could do something a lot like a recent episode of The Rookie, it's season 8 episode 10, where basically there's this crew that have gone to kind of remediate the psychiatric facility to make it safe for demolition, but they've been exposed to some chemicals in high doses that cause like kind of hallucinations and stuff. stuff. And basically like the characters are stuck in this like giant psychiatric hospital on the run from these people who keep trying to kill them because they've been like dosed with chemicals and stuff. So we could have that on 911 where like half of LA has been dosed with this drug and they're trying to like calm everyone down, but they're trying to hurt them, and it's like a whole like very tense situation. Especially because like with that episode of The Rookie, when we saw the promo, I think at least I thought it was going to be kind of like, it would seem scary in the promo, but actually it would be kind of funny in the episode, and it would be kind of like there would be an extended chase scene where they're all like running around the hospital and that kind of thing, and it's like supposed to be played for laughs. But then you watch the episode and it is terrifying. So I feel like that could really work for an opening emergency of 911. Obviously the details would be different, but I think like for a similar vibe, I think that would work really well for a 911 opening emergency. And then I would love for said opening emergency to be 3 episodes max. I prefer it probably to be 2 and maybe like a bit in the third to like tie off loose ends, but I understand if it would need to be like a full 3. I think all of like the most recent ones have been like a full 3 episode arc, so I feel like it would be a full 3 episodes. But also with those like 3 episode arcs, like half of the first episode is like kind of building up to it and it doesn't actually like happen till near the end, so take that as you will. Anyway, other specific things I would love for season 10. Main one is going to be Ravi main. The fact that Ravi still isn't a main is insane to me. Like, it still baffles me that he wasn't made a main last year. Hopefully it happens this year, especially because he's dating May now, so I feel like his character's going to be around a lot more. But alongside that, hopefully we get Ravi Begins. People have been begging for Ravi Begins since we had that prison riot episode where he revealed he had cancer as a child. Like, we want his backstory. The people yearn for a Ravi backstory, okay? But with Begins episodes, what happens usually is that character is either going through something really traumatic or is on the verge of death. And that's kind of where we get the flashbacks. For Ravi's, I would really like to see like him go in for like kind of a routine scan to like check his cancer hasn't come back or something, but they find some kind of anomaly and he has to get a bunch more tests and he's like at the hospital all day and he's having flashbacks while he's there. I'd love to see something like that. Or we have the more typical near-death situation in like any kind of means. Maybe like near-death in a hospital, because like that would be a nice kind of parallel. But I don't just want to see like him as a kid in hospital getting treatment. I also want to see like, why did he become a firefighter? Also, I would love to see a flashback where we like see why he's a landlord, because I feel like there's some like storyline there that hasn't been explored yet. And then maybe even, this is something I've like cooked up in my brain that I doubt would ever happen, but like some episode 1, maybe 2 seasons ago, where May happened to be at the firehouse and we like had a scene with May in it at the firehouse or whatever. But May's at the firehouse and Ravi's like coming off shift and he spots May, and like that's the first time they meet. Like maybe they run into each other and that's like the first time they talk. I would love to see that, especially with now like May Ravi being canon. I feel like that would be a nice like kind of full circle moment. And maybe like at the end of Ravi Begins, when he's like okay, Athena like comes to him and says, you know, Bobby would approve of you being with May, because I feel like Ravi needs to hear that, okay? Like Athena says, Bobby used to talk about you all the time, about how you're such a good guy and that's why I knew I could trust you with May. Like, I would die, okay? But even if we don't get Ravi Begins, at least hopefully we might get Ravi main. If we don't, I swear to God, we can always get Ravi Begins next season. We just need him to be a main, okay? Anyway, next like specific thing I would want is more themed episodes. And by themed, I mean like kind of not like holiday themed, but like a specific day themed, if that makes sense. Like we had a Halloween episode last year. I would love to see another Halloween episode. I'd really love to see another Christmas episode, because we haven't had one of those in a while. I know that's probably a lot to ask for, because they like to put these special episodes like near the day it happens. So like the Halloween episode is next to actual Halloween, and 911 is typically on break throughout the whole of December. So asking for a Christmas episode is a lot, but maybe we could have a Christmas episode. Or honestly, I would take a Thanksgiving episode, even though I'm British. Like, I want to see the whole 118 sit down and have dinner together and just have a fun time. That's all I want. I would also really love a Valentine's Day episode. I feel like that'd be so much fun. And we get a bunch of calls centered around like love and like bad Valentine's Day dates going wrong, and Buck ends up telling the story of that one time he had to have his like throat cut open by Abby when he choked on bread. Also, and I can't believe we haven't had this yet, we should have like some kind of like award show emergency episode. Like maybe it can be like the week of the Oscars or something, and like, because they're in LA, the 118 are in LA, like it's a miracle they haven't been called to some emergency and award show yet. So maybe it's like the week of like the actual IRL Oscars and the 911 end up going to the Oscars to like save people because something goes wrong or whatever. And then my final like themed episode would be an April Fool's Day episode where maybe it's like a character's hit their head and they're like dreaming and everything's like just slightly wrong. And I don't mean like Buck's coma dream wrong because then everything is like awful. I mean like that episode of Glee at the end of season 3 where Tina trips and hits her head in the fountain and all the actors switch characters. That's the kind of vibe I want, like something funny for April Fools that all the viewers just sit and laugh at. Like I want that, okay? Especially because April 2027 is on a Thursday, so 911 will air on April Fool's Day, so long as they're not on break. Please don't be on break again. We had so many breaks last season, like I don't want that again. Like we can have mid-season break, but I want to go straight through after that. There's no Winter Olympics to like have to break for this year at least, thank God. Also, I'd love to have like another Nashville crossover, but this time instead of the entire crossover being on an episode of Nashville, it's all on an episode of OG 911. Like for whatever reason, a couple of members of the 113 end up in LA. Maybe it's for like a training horse thing, and it's Blue and Ryan, and like they meet up with Buck and Eddie who are also at this training course, and there's a bit of competition there again. Like I would love that. But also I'd love the whole 113 to come, because I feel like Roxy and Hen would get along like a house on fire, just like making fun of everyone else, and I would love to see it. My last like specific thing that I really want is probably too much to ask for, and that is for a 911 The Rookie crossover episode. I would preferably love to have 2 crossover episodes, one on each show, and it's like one goes into the next and you have to watch both to understand it. I know this might be too much to ask for, but I feel like it's possible. You know, all the cast have now like met each other because they've done a bunch of conventions together, so I feel like they're like friends, and so maybe the like producers could be friends, and maybe just maybe we could get a crossover that we all dream of. I spoke a lot about my kind of 911 The Rookie crossover dreams in another video, which I'll link up here, and I'm not gonna like repeat myself, but just know I want that. I dream of that, I crave that, okay? Because like if 911 are going to cross over with a show that's like outside the franchise, I would want it to be The Rookie. Second would probably be High Potential, because I love High Potential and it's also set in LA, so I feel like it would work. And then if they really want to like go big guns, I feel like they do Grey's Anatomy, but I don't know how they'd work that into it, apart from like maybe bringing Addison back, because I think she still technically lives in LA. But I'm not going to go too much into detail about that because this is a 911 video and I'm going to talk about 911, okay? But I think that's all like the specific things, so now I'm going to get into the more kind of general overarching whole season things I'd like to see. Number 1 is more May Ravi. Like we got barely any last season. They cut the first kiss and then we eventually got the actual first May Ravi on-screen kiss in the finale. So I would love to see more of them. I would love to see them going on dates. I would love to see kind of like Ravi asking for dating advice from like the 118 and Chim's having to give him advice about like dating his friend's sister. And maybe we get like May and Maddie bonding over the fact that they are like dating firefighters who are like friends with their brothers, and we get the 2 of them back because I miss them together. I miss the dispatch days where May was at dispatch with Maddie. I would also just love to see more of May in general, just being a nurse. Like anytime they take someone to the hospital, I want to see May, okay? Because I feel like they're just gonna like say she's at the hospital and then she's like never gonna show up, which would be so disappointing because they could do so much with that. The vibe I want is more of that episode, I forget which episode it was of season 9, but the one where Harry shows up to May's house and Ravi is there, that one, I just want more of that vibe kind of throughout the season. And speaking of Harry, I would love more of kind of like Harry finding out what it's like to be a firefighter, kind of like season 1 Buck vibes. Like maybe Harry has his first big loss and like Buck helps him through it because he remembers what it was like after his first big loss. And when I say season 1 Buck vibes, I do not mean like stealing the fire truck to go and sleep with people. Like I mean the Buck becomes for Harry what Bobby was for him, if that makes sense. And then the big one, the big thing that I would love to see extended across the whole season is obviously Buddy Cannon. Now, I do have hope this will finally happen. I feel like they set it up so well at the end of last season for it to happen this season. I hope that with the opening emergency we get some kind of feelings realization from one of them so we at least know it's coming. Because like I feel like ABC took it and we're like, we're gonna do Buddy, but we're gonna do it slowly to kind of, so it doesn't like feel rushed, you know, because I feel like if it felt rushed we wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. So like they've been slowly giving us steps towards Buddy Cannon, and I feel like we're at the point where we need a feelings realization from one of them, and I kind of hope actually it's Eddie first. So Eddie has like a feelings realization plus kind of like realizes he's maybe not as straight as he's always thought he's been, and maybe he goes to Hen with that and like she helps him out, kind of like figure everything out. and then after that's done, then we get Buck's feelings realization. I want Eddie to happen first. Like, my ideal scenario is we get an Eddie feelings realization early on in the season, preferably in the opening emergency. He then has like a kind of multi-episode arc, probably like 3 or 4 episodes, where he kind of figures out his sexuality. We get the return of the hot priest. Eddie finally drinks the juice. Like, I swear to God, if any of the 911 writers are listening to this, if you bring back the juice metaphor, people will be rejoicing in the streets. And then once that's done and Eddie's kind of like figured it out, then after that, probably like mid-season finale, maybe with another near-death experience for one of them, we get Buck's feelings realization. And then the second half of the season, 10B, will be dedicated towards the two of them kind of like getting closer and closer together until one of them finally confesses, and then they get together. Hopefully in like a Valentine's Day episode, because that would be so much fun. Will that happen? Who knows? Everyone said like this time last year that season 10 was going to be the season that had the buddy wedding. I don't think that's going to quite happen unless they go full marriage of convenience so Buck can adopt Theo route, which would be so AO3 of them, but like I wouldn't put it past them at this point. But I do think Buddy will get together in season 10. You heard it here first. I'm saying it right now. Buddy will get together in season 10. Prove me wrong, 911. Oh, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but I would love to see more of the cast like directing episodes. Like, we've had Aisha Hines, who plays Hen. She's directed a couple of episodes at this point. I would love to see her do another. Like, I think she's always had episode 11 in the past 2 seasons. So season 10, episode 11, maybe directed by Aisha Hines. I would love that. But also, like, if any other cast members want to do it, 100% on board. Like, let them all do it. Let them all have a go. I would love that. But I think that's it as to what I want from 911 season 10. I really want this season to be special because I feel like a 10th season, like having the show go on for a decade, is such a big deal. And I really want the, like, season 10 should celebrate that, you know? So I want there to be like every single parallel or callback under the sun to like reference earlier episodes and kind of like celebrate how far the show has come. And maybe we bring back some characters we haven't seen in a while, like Taylor Kelly, just for like 1 episode for the vibes. I would love that. Or maybe like Eddie gets hurt and he can't work for a few shifts, so they have to bring in a replacement and they end up bringing in Lena Bosco and Buck has to deal with that all coming back up. Like, I would love to see that. We already saw a bit of it with that guy who replaced him in season 9, the guy who replaced Buck while he was on leave. What was his name? I feel like his name was Sam. I might be wrong. I remember Buck calling him the wrong name and getting the wrong name on the cake. But I feel like his name was Sam, not sure. But like, imagine if that was Lena Bosco and Buck had to deal with like kind of that trauma. It would have been so good. I don't think we'll get Buck being out for a few shifts again because he like went through enough last season. He doesn't need anything else this season. But I feel like if Eddie got injured and had to have a few days off of work and they brought in Lena Bosco, that would be so funny. And like, Buck hates it because that's supposed to be Eddie, but it's not Eddie, and he's like all like huffy and jealous about it. That would make me laugh so much. But really, I just hope that 911 season 10 like lives up to everyone's expectations and doesn't like let us all down. I feel like season 9 was the kind of let's all figure out how we do this without Bobby season, and now we've got through that. We can be like, this is what the new 118 is like kind of season. I would love to see that, especially because realistically we have 2 to 3 seasons left after season 10. We're probably going to get a grand total of like 12 or 13 seasons of the show. It is very rare for a procedural to go on for longer than that. In fact, I can only think of a couple off the top of my head, and those are like the one Chicago shows. I think Chicago Fire is about to go into its 15th season, and then obviously Grey's Anatomy, which is on its like 22nd or 23rd season, one of the two. I watch it, but even I don't know what season it's on at this point. So if we're like being realistic and we say we've only got a few more years left of 911, I would love to see them use the opportunity of this like big milestone of season 10 to really celebrate what came before and where the show's come from and where it is now. Like, I would love to see that. If you have any like specific things that you really want to see in 911 season 10, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed this video, I have to be awkward and kind of cringy and ask you to like the video or maybe even subscribe. I post a bunch of videos all about TV shows and fan fiction and all that kind of fandom stuff, so if you like that kind of thing, you might enjoy what I do here. There'll also be links in the description to my AO3 profile if you want to read any of my fanfics. There's a lot of buddy ones, I'll warn you right now. But also to my Twitter account where I yap about 911 a lot, and also to my TikTok account. I post new fanfiction related TikToks literally every single day, so if you feel like there's something you might enjoy, you might want to follow me over there. So yeah, I've been Claudia, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll hopefully see you all soon. Bye!